Hello guys, how are you doing today? Welcome people, join to see some interesting stuff. Hello Salim Lakid, thank you. Okay, so today we are going to be doing some NPR, that is non-realistic rendering, and so this is the piece that we're going to be trying to remake. It's by Mountain Shrine. Let me just send you the post and the reference image. I also talk a bit about what NPR is, and I'll be updating more information here as we work on it. So that's the reference, that's the page. Hey, what's up? Peter Stamp, glad to see you. How are you doing? Santhosh Kumar, how are you? Sat Globe, how are you? Yeah, so let's see how we can achieve something like this. I guess you can just dive in. We can start by making some rocks, or maybe let's first by blocking out everything and see how things are going to look. Let me actually have this on my second screen so that I don't have to zoom in too much. Let me bring this here. Have that there. Just have this somewhere there. Okay. Okay, let's get into it. So what I think is the way we can do this, let me just change the music a bit. Okay, we can start by blocking out this. I am seeing some mountains here, some bits of here, and then a building here. So I think we can start by just going to turn on random colors. So how has your day been, guys? How was your weekend? Because I didn't stream yesterday. How has everything been for you? Yeah, non-photorealistic rendering. And I rarely see, actually a lot of people do. I've seen a lot of tutorials on NPR renderings, but mostly it's just creating cartoons or just, you never really see this kind of scenes on YouTube. People making these kind of things in YouTube. So I'm trying to see what I can do. So yeah, I'm going to start by blocking out everything. So I'm using this as to block out the mountains in the back. So I think I can just have a few duplicates. And we can come back to this and make it better. But for now, I can even just, let me see. If I first instead just subdivide this a few times, and maybe even add displacement modifier. We are still blocking out things, so we don't really have to be detailed, but I just want to experiment a bit. Hello Atrien. Hello the future. Hello, yeah. Okay, so can go back in here, just maybe turn on wireframe for a second, maybe subdivide this a few more times, increase the strength, just to get something to look at. And I'm going to change the orientation of the coordinates to global, like that. And maybe we don't need this many polygons for blocking out. So let's reduce them. Yeah, so that's going to be, and I think we can even use this piece as background rocks. So I can duplicate this around, and you can see every time I duplicate it, it changes the shape just a tiny bit like that, because we are using some noise. So we're starting with blocking out. You can't see this. Okay, seems I was looking at the wrong screen. Yeah, thank you. So, good. Very sorry about that. So, yeah, okay. I changed my setup a bit. So, I was working on a different screen than what I should be working on. God, streaming can be a bit difficult. Anyway, yeah. So I'm not sure what you missed, but okay, let's try this again. So this is, and thank you for letting me know, man. Yeah, I had already. Yeah, so this is the piece we want to create, and I've already provided a reference image to it, and that is by. Let me get the link again. It's by. Yeah, you can go to the link here. I will see the artist's name and everything. Yeah, I'm sorry I wasted 5 minutes without showing the screen. But this is what we're going to be doing because I rarely see this kind of scenes made, a sterilized scene like this made in Blender. Mostly what you see for NPR scenes is just what is just cartoons. Yeah, so let's try making this, and actually let me have this on my second screen so that I don't mess up again, and bring back the reference image. Bring back the reference image here. Okay. Still setting up things, just see what is the best setup. Okay, so as I was saying, I want to make sure that we can start with blocking out the back mountains and then come closer, adding the foreground details and things like that. So let's start by adding a cube like this, give it a few subdivisions, and then maybe a few more. Then I can even round this off a bit like that. I'm using the shortcut. Let me turn on my shortcuts here. I can give this a displacement modifier, displacement modifier like that, and clouds texture like that. I want the clouds to be a bit larger like that, and you can even turn on cavity. It highlights the edges a bit. We can add a bevel at round of the corner, and if I go to wireframe, you can see how the bevel is working. So I'm also going to change the coordinates to global, and now if I scale this, you can see the shapes change a bit, and if you look closely, they get the same look. Closer, they look nearly the same as other rocks in the background here. So we can use these as the background rocks, and duplicate these, and basically even go to edit mode if I want, and I just move some of these vertices around to create different shapes of the rocks like that. Rotate these, go to edit mode, and just adjust this a bit, and we have some background rocks like that. And since we are using global coordinates, every time we move this around, the shape changes a bit. So actually, let me switch this to the image editor so that I can easily see things here. Yeah, so those are some background rocks. Let's start setting up the camera because it can help us focus on areas that are going to be visible to the camera. So I'm going to move this and like that. Now we're going to be using cycles because it has the point names shader that might be very useful here. And maybe let me split this and have this our shader as our shader editor. Cool trick for rocks. Thanks. Yeah. I think it's a nice trick to get some details. And if you scale this some of these rocks, bring them closer, you can make some amazing detailed. They just give you some random shapes. Can even and edit mode is going to be very useful as well. And let me grab this, turn on proportional editing. And I think if we turn on, it doesn't seem to work for the bevel, but yeah, something like that. Okay, let's see what, let's work on some materials for the rocks. As I said, we're going to be using cycles because it has a pointness shader that's going to be very useful to make these edges highlighted. So let's do that. I'll create a new material. I'll preview this in Eevee and in cycles here. Let me first turn on ambient occlusion with a distance of 1, factor of 2. We don't need screen space reflections just yet. Let me save this under NPR scene. I'll save this. And yeah, let me switch to cycles for a second here. Turn on denoising. And I can start at 10 samples like that. Yeah, so the reason why I wanted to use cycles here, let me first isolate this. Just look at this. Is because if I create a new material and I use an input, what is it called? Geometry. There is a pointness option. And that can, if I add a car ramp, you can see I get some highlighted corners like that. And if in the bevel settings we increase the segments to 2 or 3, you basically get more highlights around the bevel. If you want to get more detail out of this, you can even add a subdivision surface after the bevel. Like this, you'd get more detailed corners. Let me just do something like that. Let's look at the wireframe and see how the wireframe looks. Not too bad, but I'm not going to use the because I want to maintain a low poly count for this. So let me see if this works in Eevee. Yeah, so the pointness map doesn't work in Eevee. That's why you see we're using cycles like that. Now we can start working out the color of the rocks. So since this is NPR, non-realistic rendering, also or non-photorealistic rendering, we can use a noise texture, a simple noise texture, noise texture like this. Give it, actually we can use a noise at that level, duplicate it again, blend the two, let me bring back my reference image. Look at this here. Get some large noise like this. And if we blend the two like that, you can use a car ramp just to vary the colors a bit. Maybe something like that. Maybe this is a bit brighter like that. And we have this these highlights. We can add them on there. I think we can use a multiply or screen option just to get the highlights. And we need mostly the highlights. I can even add a convert math node here. NPR is art, right? Yeah, it is. It's a style, non-photorealistic. So if you type in NPR art, you can see the definition yourself. Let me see. Non-photo. Is it non? Yeah, non-photorealistic rendering. So let me see. Yes. Change this maybe to a power. So we get some nice highlights and it's tone like that. Now we can just have this as a mix node. So why is this not showing through? So I have this as a factor of this. Let me see. Hey troll, HT troll, how are you doing? Verified guy, thank you. How are you? How's everything? Okay, I want to let me see. I want to get some really high contrast in here. I think I can subdivide, add more segments. If the more segments you have for the bevel, the more the highlights are going to be more pronounced, but that is also going to increase the weight. Yeah, those are the highlights. I'm not sure why they were not showing before. And now they seem to be showing. So we need to have some highlights like that. And I'm going to make this a bit darker so that the highlights can show better. And I think I can just add a hue and saturation node here. You have a nice day? Nice. Like that. Now you can see the rocks look much better with the highlights like that. Now if you want, you can subdivide this a bit further, but I think this is okay. You see, we get the rock shader like that. I can fit this. Hey, I mentioned you in my post. Please check it. Which post? On Discord? On Discord. Okay, so now this is the rock, and now we can use some of this mask as the roughness, like that. Now we can go back to this. HT control, HT roll. Wow. Mad respect, man. Mad respect. Actually, I've never checked out your channel, but yeah, let me subscribe to that. Nice. Congratulations, man. Okay. Yeah, we can now use this shader everywhere. So I'm just going to select everything, link materials. And we are getting something that look like that. And since we're using cycles, we can use where is this cycle in the world settings? We can use a sky texture. And Yeah, HT-Roll, I really love the thumbnails that you use. Are you the one making those? Because they look amazing. They look amazing. Just look at those thumbnails, man. Just amazing, amazing, amazing. Are you getting these from somewhere, or you're making them yourself? Because if you are, yeah, class above. Okay, so here we are. We can continue adding some bits. I can see how we're getting some nice highlights in different areas. Maybe the highlights are too heavy, so I can just give them a slight different color. And again, we're still blocking out the scene. So yeah, let's pick up pace a bit. And yes, I do not know English. I only know a few common phrases, and I just want to say thank you very much. I learned a lot from following your channel, a great YouTube channel. Thank you. I'm not even sure if you understand what I'm saying, but yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's block out this bridge as it goes here. Maybe that would give us a nice flow. So just going to do something like this, extrude down. That's going to be our bridge, and you can see here, if let me just do this. You can make this go up a bit. So grab a block here, maybe have it go somewhere like that, and then I think I need to reposition my camera a bit. Somewhere like this. Grab this, turn on proportional editing, just have this down. Hey, at Yom Joy, thank you a lot. Thanks a lot for that. I'm not sure how much is that, but I really appreciate anything you guys are able to give. Thank you. Let's do more beautiful art. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ayed Zidane. Lakade, you can check. Okay, so let's block out these stones here. And they don't look that difficult. So let me first shade smooth. And we can also give this the same material as this. And I think we need to extend it just a bit. Like that. I think we can start adding in these blocks here. So I'm just going to grab a few. I'm just going to create a plane. Let me first pause the render for a bit here. Create a plane like this, and just extrude it down. Something like that. Give this a bevel like that. That will help us get the highlights. Shade smooth, maybe like that. Maybe bring this down a bit. Actually, can just Control L, link our modifiers, and I can see with just that we are able to get at least one brick like that. Now, if we add a few subdivisions, I will get. Maybe I can reduce on the displacement factor a bit here. We get a nice block, and we can duplicate this and just go in here, use Ctrl+Shift+B to chip out, to add some brick damage like that. You can just make it dented like that. Maybe even at the corner here, make it a bit dented. So we can make this varied. The noise modifier is also helping us a bit, helping us a bunch. So we can just push this in. So with 3 to 4 blocks, we can maybe let's duplicate another one of these. Just maybe make it a bit more crooked. Turn on proportional editing. I'll rotate it just a bit. So we are creating this. We can create a few that are slightly longer, a few that are slightly shorter. So now with this set, we can have a collection called bricks. And what we are going to do is just add a plane here. Just have it rotated in the same rotation, same orientation of our path here, just like that. And go to the particle system, give it a new particle system, here system. We need about 10 bricks. Can turn on advanced. Under render, we can use collection and select the bricks collection. Now the rotation is a bit off, so we can go back here and change, try to find the correct rotation we can use. Global Y, let me first isolate this. Global Z. Yeah, I think this is the right rotation. Can give this a few subdivisions like that. Hello, how are you today? I'm great. How are you? How are you doing? We want at least one brick. We want one row of bricks. So we are going to first go to the instancing and turn off viewport and render like that. And we can go back. Actually, in the advanced under source, we can turn on. Turn off random order, turn on even distribution, and use one particle per face. And that will, what that will do, it will just add a particle in every face like this. We just now have to figure out the right scale. So that's a scale of 1. And since we have, let me see, I think we're going to use about 10 per row. So let me subdivide, 8 per row. So let me see how many faces these are. These are, if I go to the statistics, that you can view under statistics here. So we have about 8 faces. Hello, Heli Sarias. How are you doing? Yeah, because we have about 8 faces, we can use 8 particles like this. And maybe let me scale this so that each face fits like that. We don't want it. Maybe you can add in some random scaling, and maybe scale this down. And I want each block to be lined up like that. I see what we're getting. And with this, we can also add some displacement to the block. Just use this texture, have it above the particle system, and in the particle system, you can turn on use modifier stack. I can even increase the displacement just a bit like that. And now what we can do is just duplicate this, and we can get more bricks. But because our particle system, we have to also double the particle system every time we duplicate this. But a better way to do this is just duplicate the entire mesh itself like that. I can even offset these bricks a bit. I can change the seed. Let me see, change. Let me see, what should I change? I want to add some variation here. I can use maybe random order. Okay, random order doesn't give us exactly what I need. Even distribution. me see. Let me bring back everything. We need this. Okay, I need this to be wider. So I'm just going to select this face, push them about here. I'll do the same thing for this side. Actually, I think the best way to do this, instead of we're just going to duplicate. Let me first scale this down. We can just duplicate this and double the count, so 16. That should also randomize the position of the bricks. And you know, I can go back to this. I want the shape of these bricks to be the size to be the same, so we don't want to have any bricks that don't fit correctly. So I'm just going to come back here. Maybe they might be a bit smaller, but yeah, so something like this. And just grab this piece, make sure that it aligns, and we can select these, maybe scale them on the Y so that they fit nicely. And if you bring this up a bit, you can add a step like that. And if I bring it closer, thank you for subscribing. That was, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce the name, but thank you for subscribing. How are you going to prevent the bricks from merging with each other? Well, it's not going to matter too much if they merge. And by merging, what do you exactly mean by merging? Because I don't think they're going to merge. Let me see. Can I do this while in edit mode? See the particles while in edit mode? Doesn't seem to be possible. Also going to reduce the strength of the displacement, and now you can see we are creating a few steps. Yeah, then can duplicate this, move it up. Again, when you duplicate, you have to double the count, so that we have the same number of particles. You can see I can just give these the same material as everything. So link materials. I think our camera has to be somewhere here. Let me see if I scale this somewhere like that. Now with that, we can just duplicate the plane itself until we have the shape we want. Just make it follow the path. In some areas, we can even go to edit mode, turn on proportional editing, just bring some of these pieces up. That's awesome. Thank you. Just bring this to some level like this. Duplicate this again. I'm going to give them a slight rotation. Then I can grab this piece. So you can see how easily we're able to populate this area. And we have some gaps there, but those can be easily filled in, or we can make the bricks a bit taller, like that. And that should hide some of the that detail. I think I don't want this to be too, because I don't want how this is too exaggerated. If the shape is too exaggerated, it stands out and it shows that the patterns are repeating. So do this here. So we get a nice tiled surface. This trick is can also work for making medieval Rome rods, because you get they have that same design. Now it might be a bit tricky here, but what we can do is let me see. Just duplicate this face and just first grab only one. Let me first grab this. And I can just delete some of these faces here, duplicate these, turn on proportional editing, Shift D, duplicate these like that. And we can reduce the particle count. We can make this a different particle, and then we can use that there. And we can even just have some of these flow down as the steps flow like that. Looks like a mess, but I think it is also. Did you sculpt the rocks on your own? The sculpts, I didn't sculpt the rocks at all. I just used a simple shape like this, added a displacement modifier and then a bevel modifier to have the rocks look like that. So every time I duplicate these, I get a different shape, and I can even just do a quick extrusion like that and get a different shape. I can scale this up. So I have some rocks here, maybe have a slight rotation here, and we can also add some rocks here. Shift D. Hello Joshua Matovu, how are you doing? How is the country, man? How are you finding it? I'm just going to grab this. Continue blocking out things. Is there a way, any other way to make the steps different? Yeah, I think there are. You can sculpt. You can place them one by one. That's going to be a lot of work, though. Yeah, there's always different ways to approach the project. I just go with the fastest way to do. Oh, UG is great this time of year. Yeah, man, I'm loving it as well. So, okay, so this is where we are. I can grab a few rocks here. Let me see. You can see how things look. These need to have this material, so you can see that we're getting some, and I can make the steps here have a different material. So I'm going to call these steps and just have them share the same material, and I can make them a tiny bit different, maybe even a bit darker. Probably any other way to have more control is to do it manually on your own, but that would be time consuming, as you would have to do each tile on your own. Yeah, it would be time consuming. And here we just want to do the fastest way to achieve results. I'm going to change the focal length to a 25 millimeters so we can see more of our scene. Maybe even appreciate the bricks a bit more. I think I need to rotate the camera a tiny bit, and okay, the highlights are a bit too much, so maybe let's see if I make them completely dark. Need some variation. Like that. And I think I'm going to make the noise here a bit more amplified. So I'm going to use a car ramp just to make the noise stand out. So that's the noise blended with this. Can do the same for this. Let me bring back my music. I think we can, let's try multiply here so that we have a mix of the two materials. Yeah, so that's our rock. Bring back the reference. And another thing I could do is these rocks, I want them when they're facing up. So this is how the shader looks in Eevee. The issue is that it doesn't really have. Recently purchased your asset library, loving it. Thank you, Zolo. Thank you. And thank you for the support. Yeah, so this is how it looks in Eevee. Unfortunately, Eevee doesn't support the pointness, so we are not seeing any highlights on the edges of the rock. What we can do for some of these rocks is just give them a random color. So I'll use an input geometry. Actually, it's input object info, and we have a random feature like that. So I'll just multiply this over the color. So I'll just blend this, multiply this over the color. So I want to use random like this. So each stone has a slight difference in it. And another thing I wanted to do is for some of these rocks, I want to have some kind of some greenish top. I want to have some green on the top. So for this, let's try a few things. If I get the geometry of the object and I get the normal, let me get the object coordinates, texture, input, geometry or texture coordinates. Let me use object and separate, convert, separate XY, and let's use a single object like an empty. So I'm going to use this arrow as the object. Let me see if I use the normal of this. Okay, it's not going to get the rotation. We're not going to get the rotation, but I can use, let me see, a texture coordinate or input. It's under convert. I want a mapping node, so vector mapping. How do I join your Discord? You can just use ! Discord, and it should give you the invite link. I want the rotation to change. I want to change the rotation of this. Let me see. Change the rotation a bit so that I will get some dot, or we get some parts that have some green areas. Yeah, something like that. And for that we can add a convert color ramp and just make the effect more pronounced, like that. And then I can get a noise texture again, like this. Make the noise, maybe we can start with some large noise like that, duplicate it, get some very small noise like that, blend the two. We can use, we can have this as color too and maybe multiply it over the small noise so that we have some variation in the noise. Maybe this should be even larger like that. And then I can use a color ramp, just play with the colors, make this greener like that. And we can use a mix node. This is, our mask is going to be the factor, so I think this is going to be, and so that some areas are going to have a rock surface and some areas can have the green surface. So this is the rock. Yeah, so something like that, I think looks better. And this mask here is too flat, so I can also grab another noise texture, blend the two. But this noise texture, we can make the noise a bit larger. Change this to color burn. So we can break up the noise a bit and can even add a color ramp here. Thank you for subscribing. Nenek Sawan, really appreciate that. Yeah, so that will help break up the noise a bit, and now we can use this as the noise like that. I think this is starting to look much better. If we go to cycles, that's what we are seeing. I think the highlight, the stone highlight, we might need to make it much more pronounced. Okay, this must be a bug because now the pointness node. Oh, actually, I think it works better. We just have, yeah, so it's something like that. Like that. Okay, we can continue adding more rocks, have some very large rocks in the background. And because we have set up all the materials and everything, this should be quite easy to populate the rocks. So this is where our castle or temple is going to sit. So we can clear some of the rocks that are here. Go back to Eevee here. You can push some of the rocks here back. Just make some room. I'm going to add a flatter rock surface here, where our castle is going to sit. And I think this is going to use a different material. I'm going to call this rock no grass. Grass, because I want to remove the grass so that it's just rock, bare rock. So for that, I'll just get rid of this connection and connect just that. I think this is supposed to be like this. Hello, Brenda Mate. Hello, Anton Stepanov. Thank you. How did you use the rock generator? I'm just using a noise and a displacement map to create the noise. I think I need to reduce. I need to reduce on the noise. And in Eevee, we can use, let me first switch to Eevee. We can come back to cycles a bit later. I can use a sun. And let me first get rid of, let me use a prism or just use an HDRI light. Thank you for subscribing. Mark, use Blender 00. Yeah, I don't think you can even find Blender 00, man. Okay, let's use a strength of 10. And we can also start, because right now the entire place looks a bit flat. But I think, actually, let's go back to cycles for a second. Just look at things a bit. We need some large mountains or some large, extremely tall rocks in some areas. Everything is going to depend on how detailed or how many rocks we have in here, so we can spend some extra time adding in those. Hari Prasad is the greatest artist in Blender. Oh, we'll have to check him out. See some of his work. There are a lot of artists, Blender artists. So, okay, so that's where we are. Now we can play with the lighting a little bit, maybe just change the camera a bit. I think we still need we can also just add more rocks. Go back to cycles here. So to the world, use a sky texture. And let's play with the lighting a bit. So the issue we're having here is we don't really have anything to show the actual scale of the object of this scene, and that's why you see that we are not really sure what the scale is. But one thing we can do is try to add in some rivers like this. Those should give us a nice scale reference, and then this tempo itself will also help with that. So maybe we can start with adding the tempo, because this is going to be the center focus of our scene. I'm going to create a few platforms that we can use as a building block. And I think I'm going to grab all the rock detail here, just push it back a bit so we can expose more of our scene, and maybe have a few of them just down here. And what I can do now is bring in some tempo assets. So I just use my asset library because we're not going to create the entire tempo from scratch. I can just search for some rocks. By the way, you can use !@ addons to get my addons, or to see the addons I'm using. So I'm just going to look for some wall. I think starting with this block here, we can build on top of that. You can see already by just adding something with a scale that we can all understand, we're getting a good idea. Let me add this as well. Clear rotation, and just let's go to render mode here. Yes. Come here, realign this. And I'm just going to grab this piece, extrude in, grab this piece, and this push in like that. And this inside part, we can assign a different material. Maybe this. Maybe Let me see if I get rid of this. Let's first change the. Let me first wait for this to. Okay, if I change the elevation maybe to something like 45 rotation. Let me see where the sun direction is. Yeah, I want to see some really harsh shadows in different areas, and I can just block some of that light. Let's see, 180. Let's see the direction of the sun. I think the direction is okay. We just need, I think I also have this light. We just need something to block some of that light. Come here. Let's try. I think we can start working on adding in some of these waterfalls in some areas. So for those, let me first go back to Eevee for a second. I can use a plane like this, and let me see where it is. I think I can start by adding a waterfall from up here. Just like that. Just add a few subdivisions like that, and we can even try using a shrink wrap modifier. So we can even a shrink wrap modifier. So shrink wrap, shrink wrap, and just select some of these rocks as the surface, and just change the offset just a bit. Just make sure that this is also pushed out, and we can use projection. Add a cube upside the staircase to block the light. Yeah, I think we can do that, but let's first get the water, I think. So something like that. Above surface. I want to offset this a bit. I think we can even make it a bit wider at the bottom. Actually, we can leave it like that. So that's our water. And for the texturing of the water, we can just UV unwrap this. Let me go to UV editor. You can see how this looks. Now, if you look at the water closely, it's more like it's like it's using. Let me get a noise texture. a noise texture like that. You can see already we are getting something that looks like water. Can duplicate this again for more detail. Maybe increase the roughness and the detail level. Just increase at a car ramp. Blend the two. Can add another one here. This time we can use an emission shader. Let me see how this water looks. Yeah, it doesn't look too lit. We can use a shader, emission shader. With hello Zigzag, you're late to class. How is everything? How is your day? Actually, rarely stream on Tuesdays. I just got bored, so I decided to stream. Yeah, how is your day? How is everything? Let's see. Why is it? Okay, yeah. Since we are using Eevee, I need to first go back to Eevee here. Make sure that I have a blending mode set to alpha, and we don't need shadows. Blending mode turned to alpha blend, no shadows, and we should have. I think I need transparency and emission. Let me see. Yeah, you can have the water like that. Like that. And you can even duplicate this, have this flow somewhere here. I don't know if it's going to be visible to the camera, but maybe somewhere there as well. And also in some areas somewhere like that. You see, it's already, I think it looks fairly good. You can even duplicate the blocks here. Just have them far in the back there. And another thing, what we are lacking in this scene is depth. We don't see good depth. So what I'm going to do, I can use the volume shader, but the volume shader can also be a bit difficult to work with. So I'm just going to use a plane like this, give it a new material. I'll just use a shader, emission shader, and a transparency shader, shader transparency. Sorry man, I was working 2D bike model. I saw 4 o'clock. It's time to get to class. I'll show you what I'm working on this code. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what you do with the bike, because I really love the design, and the fact that you actually start out with sketching your models and making them from scratch, right from your mind. I can't ever do that. I'm not very good at sketching. Yeah, so I want to have a volume. So what I can do is use an input. I can use a texture gradient, use this as a factor, and I need to make sure that this is turned to blending mode like that. And this is going to help us create that volume. And I want this to be set to spherical. And with that, I need to have some texture coordinate mapping. We can use, this time we can use UV mapping. And that means we need to move this UV to like there, and also we need to switch these two around. So if you look at the gradient, if I add color ramp here, I can control the contrast. Let me scale this down a bit. Yeah, so the gradient looks like that, and when I move my UV, you can see how that looks. I want it to be in the center. I want it to be faded, so I can scale this up, fade it even further, or scale the UV like that. Then I can use this as the factor now, and we have something like that. So I just need to maybe add a power node here, convert a math node, because I want the colors to be really faded, the edges to be faded quite a lot. So with a power node, we can scale that up. You can even change the color to a more bluish color like that. And now we have some separation between the foreground and the background. And what we can do is even have this in some areas where the water is. So for example, here you can see it gives us a nice separation between the bridge and where the water is. Gives us some nice depth like that. We can also add it around here. Just move it up. Just make sure that it doesn't intersect with anything, because then that breaks the illusion a bit. So you can see, get some nice depth and separation there. We also need to add it behind other parts. So for example, here, maybe something like that. Maybe even scale it up like that, and also have it in the back just like that, to kind of cut off, add some foggy parts in the back there, so that not everything is truly visible. So maybe you can grab this, have it in front. Now let's look at how this looks in cycles. Looks okay. Let's go back to the world. I want to play with the direction. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with let's see, 60, so that parts of the rocks are in light. Okay, let's go back to Eevee. You know what? Let's play with the Eevee look and see how. First remove this, reduce the length, the strength to 0, and just play with Eevee and see. I'm going to add a light. Let me just make sure that I'm inside, and I'm in Eevee. I'm going to add a sun. Hello, Pranub. Do you mean the stream is not? Let me see. It seems okay on my side. Is there any issues on your side? I think I can go in the world settings and just use an environment textures. I use maybe something like this with very little strength. Something like that. Now we can start adding details for our temple. So let me look for other rock surfaces. Let me go to my building parts. Let me first clear search here. Walls. Oh, better yet, we can just create this from scratch. We can create the temple from scratch instead of reusing the assets. Let's start by creating this block here. So have a cube here. I think it should be rotated like that. This is going to be the base. I think I need to scale it a bit. We're going to use a bevel modifier to round off the corners a bit, maybe not that much, just like that. Auto smooth, and then harden normals. We can then extrude this up. I think this has to be a bit larger, something like that. And I'm going to add an empty somewhere there and just use it as the mirror object. As the mirror object, and I think I need to rotate it like that. And I'm going to look for a brick material that we could use here. Let's try something like this, and just use, instead of using object mapping, let's try UV mapping. I think the scene is starting to come into shape. Let me just make sure this is also using object mapping, UV mapping, sorry. And I can, let me see. Look at the bricks. These are our bricks. Just cube projection. Yeah, like that. So we want to make this look grandiose. I'm just going to add a loop there, add another loop around there. Just small details like that. Let me bring back my music. And I think we can also duplicate this block, maybe scale it down, scale it up. Maybe apply the modifier or use catcher. On cloth animation, how do you set it to just stay on the frame you want without starting again from the beginning? I hope I am being clear. Yeah, you have to apply the modifier for it to work, for you to retain what you have simulated. So yeah, Joshua Matovo is right about that. Yeah, you have to apply. Just add in some details here. Just a few details like that. We can create whatever this is called, which kind of seems, which looks more difficult than it actually looks. Way difficult already. I think we can add. Let me see. You can create this platform here. So I think I can start with. The problem is I have this rotated. So let me just work on this separately here. I can start with this. Subdivide this. Control Shift B. I spent all week trying to figure it out. Yeah. But if you see that something is failing, you can try asking around on different Blender forums, or just try watching a YouTube tutorial. It's very likely that someone has also run into the same issue that you're running into, and they have created a tutorial or something. So whenever I find myself struggling with something, the first thing that I think of is YouTube, trying to find a tutorial maybe. Because most of the problems you encounter, there's someone who has encountered them as well. So let me see. I want to extrude this on the X. It is very likely that there is someone who has encountered the same problems. Just going to extrude this. What is this? Shift N, recalculate normals. I do that. Yeah, something like that. Hello from Russia. Love your work. Thank you. Anton Stepanov. Thank you. How is Russia? What part of Russia are you living in? I only know about St. Petersburg and maybe Moscow. Because I listen to Capital Radio, Moscow. There is an app. I just love the mixes on there. So yeah, that's the only radio station I hear. I listen to most of the time when I'm online. I want to use the shear tool, this here, and then extrude this. Actually, I need to do that, and also extrude this, shear this. I like that, and then extrude, and then we should have our corner like that. Then use a mirror modifier on the other side, and maybe even just grab this piece, and we can have this as a centerpiece. So just going to use local or normal like this, extrude, absolutely love the Russian national anthem. Yeah. Have I heard of it? I think I've heard of it as a meme. Because of the way they sing. I'm not sure. I don't really remember if it's what I had, but there are a lot of Russian memes on the internet, so I'm going to use an array here. I want to use an array. And, let me grab a wood material. By the way, if you're new here, if you're new to the channel, it would be amazing if you subscribed or liked the stream. It really helps out the channel a lot. So really, really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm going to grab this edge, Shift D, extrude up. And then just going to use Alt, I think, Control L, separate this, Shift N, push this just a tiny bit, like that. Just grab these, extrude like that. I think I want to make these a bit reddish. Hello Kazaik, how are you doing? You need to use cube projection on these. I'm going to give this a thickness, I think. I live in Siberia. It is very cold here. Winter has come and winter walkers are on their way. Game of Thrones fun. The white walkers are on their way. Nice. Let's make this a bit more reddish. Now, we can create this roof detail. Now, it doesn't seem to be that complicated to make. So let's see. Let's give this an attempt. So if I start with a plane like this, it seems that this just has some bit of extrusion here, and then we add something like a circle or cylinder. I'm just going to use about 12 vertices. I rotate it on the X, change its orientation, just bring this here, fill it in, and I think I can use the same material here. And just now we can just detail this part, so I think it's something like this. So we add in some details like that. A Russian anthem sounds good. Yeah. I think I can add a loop here. Just add another loop. Just push this. Just so we have some nice detail like that. I think I can also just extrude this in, and maybe push this to the back. Just round off these edges a bit, and I'm going to make this material a bit different, so I'll reduce the red and make it a bit darker. And now we can use an array modifier to make this continuous. And another array actually I think, let me see, what do I think? I think this have a few edge loops. Like this. Yeah. You are a real creator of 3D art. I like your work. Thank you, Kazaik. Thank you, really appreciate that. Okay. Yeah, something like that. And now what we can do is, so here, at this part, I think I can just grab this edge loop here, Shift D, separate it, and just convert it into, if I apply the mirror, and then convert it to curve, just reset the origin there, cast it to origin to curve, then grab this, and just give it the same rotation, and give it a new curve object. Then we have something like that. Then I think we can rotate this slightly, maybe even scale it down. Also, maybe extend this just a bit, like that. And we can duplicate this, remove the curve, just rotate this 90 maybe. Mirrored on the Y as well, so something like that. And we can duplicate this piece. I think I'm just going to, let me see, grab this, let me just grab this, apply the mirror, just grab this, Shift D, just let me see. I think I can grab this piece, clear rotation, rotate 90 degrees, 180. You can make several designs. I'm just going to add another array like that. Maybe just bring it in a bit. And if I add an empty at that point and rotate it 45, actually, let me first give this a mirror and use that empty as the mirror and rotate this until it's somewhat like that. Then I can add bisect at this, and then I have a nice shape like that that I can build on. Maybe I can grab these two pieces let me first make sure that their mirrors are applied, so I can just grab this, have it somewhere here, and grab any of these pieces, Shift D, just without the mirror. Basically have another entrance on this side like this. Maybe just move some of these stones around. And I can grab this, first apply the mirror. Actually, before I apply the mirror, I can apply everything, visual geometry, scale it up, actually apply visuals to geometry like that. I just have this at the top. Let me use global. Just grab this corner as well, just add it. And I think I need the sun to have contact shadows. Nice, I didn't know the bisect mirror trick. Yeah, it's very handy, just cuts out any intersecting issues. A really, really useful piece. Let's grab these, push them. I need to use local. Let me first have that like that. Let me push. Let's see how this looks in cycles for a second. Not bad. We can add in more Let me see. All of these rocks in the back. Yeah. Actually, let me first grab this. If I made it a bit smaller. Maybe use another array. Let me play with my vibrant colors here and see what kind of different looks we might get from different presets. Let me first reset and just actually that is not too bad. Just merges the colors a little bit better. Ganja Farmer, I don't know what problem Netbot has with you, but yeah, it kind of has some issues, some unsettled issues with you, I think, because every time you try to say something, he just blocks you. And it doesn't seem like anything bad. Let me see. If you use Alt D for duplicating, it doesn't make the scene heavy because it copies the data. Yeah, true. I think I need more waterfalls. I'm just going to grab and change the shrink wrap to this. Yeah, just going to grab some of these. Just duplicate some rocks here. To make it's because of too many emojis. You know, the emojis are fine. I don't know why he's too aggressive sometimes. Now, what we are missing are some grass elements. So maybe let's work on those. I think we could, let me see how he worked on, use these. I think we can create some small grass blades. Just going to rotate this. So this is our first grass blade. We can get a more kind of straightened but smaller grass blade. Shade smooth, shade smooth. And we can all get a grass material. Do you have a channel on Twitch? No, yeah, I do, but I rarely. I don't stream on there. I just stream on YouTube. So this is just going to be a green material. So that's going to be our grass. And the way we're going to use the grass here, I think you can just have a plain surface like this. Give it a hair system. We don't need to have that many particles. You can try 500. That can get these grass blades, add them to a grass material or grass blades. A collection. Then let me use that collection as the collection here. We can go to the instance, just not show this, and we can go to the particle system again. Just play with the randomness of the scale. And we can use something like 10 particles, and then in the children we can turn on interpolated, play with some of the settings here. Just turn on random scale randomness. Yes. Let's turn on subdivision and just move this around, these points around. Maybe the hair particles seem to be a bit too much or a bit too tall. Can be scaled down. And the color can be, let me see. Let's go back to the hair. We can use some noise. So I think we need way more particles than we have here. So something like that. Just again play around with the scale. Another thing you could do is go to the texture, add a new texture. Add a new texture, and that texture is going to be a noise, a clouds texture like that, and it's going to influence. And let's use global, and under the influence, it can use. We want to influence the height or length, which I can't seem to find. I think, yeah, size, density. We don't want it to influence too much of the density. yeah, hair length, we want it to influence. We don't want it to influence the density. We want it to slightly influence that. And we can just, and since we have kind of a surface underneath, we can just use a shrink wrap modifier to make it projected onto the surface like that. And then now we can increase the hair length just a bit so more of the noise can go through. Is it a low poly version of empty? Of empty, what I'm not sure what empty is. And I can go back to here and just offset this a bit. We can increase, I think, the particle system. Just make this, spread this a bit. Maybe reduce the noise. In different areas. Now with this we can just snap it in different areas. I'm going to make sure that this is actually I want to make sure that this extends. Maybe subdivide this a few more times. You can see we're getting some nice grass silhouettes there, so that is good. Maybe we don't want the grass everywhere. We want it mostly around the corners. Something like that. Around there. We can also add it in some places. Say, let me grab this. Say around here, around these rocks, they look too plain. And I need to make sure that the projection is removed. And this can be projected. Actually, let's remove the projection. Let's have this. You know what? Let's not do that. For some of these rocks, I think, for example, this here, we might need some more subdivision. So I'm going to add a subdivision surface to it. Just make sure it's above this, so we get a little bit more detail in it. Maybe reduce on the strength and duplicate this. And we can add some details there like that. Let me see if I go to my asset library. Let me see if I can add some things that should make this scene look better. Let me see if I look for a sign. I have this wooden sign that I think we can use in different areas. Just hope with adding some detail. I'm just also going to need some kind of a stick for this to be on. So I'll use a cylinder like this. Subdivide it, give it the same modifier. So something like that. Yeah, we had some buds in the previous live stream. So let's import those. That bud, I think I got it from a free something website. So let me go for in my downloads. Actually, that's not it. I had a bud yesterday. Let me see. Oh, I think I remember where it is. I need to go under file, import obj and compressed. Let me see. Dead modified. Was it FBX? Paradigm robot. Let me add compressed. I can't remember the bud. Let me see. Because I think if we added some buds here, it would be amazing. So let's go to the project we created last time and see how that looks. So I think it was Egyptian river. Now, if you're not here yesterday, this is, I don't remember the time when we created this, but yeah, we had some interesting time making this. So it's just basically what you're seeing here is an Egyptian lake. Let me just show you quickly how that looks. It's quite a project. You can see it's taking some time to render. But maybe you can just go in the previous video and see and try to get it. Anyway, I'm going to go back. So that's how it looks, but yeah, it's too heavy for my PC. So I'm just going to grab a few buds here. Yeah, buds for scale. Yeah, you're right. We can, I'm going to grab this one here. They're in different poses, and that, and this. Let me see what else can we get here. And if you're using the new asset library, I have an option. I've added an option to add multiple objects. So objects you have selected. So I'll add this into my decals collection, and just and I just create a new category. I'll call this buds and add at once, and that should add the buds at once. But yeah, if it has to first compile the shaders, so this might take a bit of time. Something I didn't foresee. Yeah, if it has to first compile shaders before it renders the buds, and then add them to my profile, to my asset library. So as that happens, I can just come back to this. Hopefully it's not affecting this. And another thing I'm thinking is, let me go back to my asset library and look for a bot. For a bot, yeah, I want the bot we created for the previous stream. Yeah, I think it has. Yeah, the add-on has finished adding the buds. Has it? So you can see it has added the buds. So, one mistake I made is I didn't name the buds correctly. So that's why when I search, they're not coming through. So they're called ego. So if I search for ego, I should be able to get other egos. And another thing I want to add to my library is this bot. So I'll just select that and just add it as well. Yeah, I think I need to go to vibrant colors and just reset the exposure here, and then give this a render again. Let me see what else. Vibrant colors. Go back to the asset. I think my colors are too contrasted. Let me use Eevee instead of cycles. Just go back to the color management a bit. Yeah, can't seem to get the brightness up. That could be maybe in the compositor, but that's okay. Just going to save this. Close the project because it's too heavy. Come back here. You can see I have all the buds. Let me look for the bot as well. So it's here. Yeah, it actually looks visible. I'm going to add it somewhere here. See how quickly it imports. So add it somewhere here. And that also means, let me actually scale it up and make sure that it's behind the fog. Add a plane. I want to have some water. Let me look for water, a water material. I'll grab this, assign that. Let me first remove. So that's how this would look. Or maybe, no. Let me bring the buds. Actually, it's called ego. These are egos. So I'll search ego. Grab this. Just add that there. Add another one. Let's see. Add this. Can duplicate this a few times. And this rock here doesn't seem to be too detailed. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate it a few times, scale it down. Just make a lot of other small rocks on here. Let's go to the vibrant colors. Play with the colors a bit. So that's, if I reset, that's how things look, which also look good. Another thing I can do, I need to make this a bit high res. So I'm going to subdivide it, give it a shrink wrap modifier. Like that. And I think we can also grab this, add it up there. You can move the camera and see things. Yeah, the illusion doesn't break too much. You can go to the asset library, and under decos we can search for a few different things we can add in here. Let me see. Balloon letters, birds, cloth, electronics, food, machines, nothing there. Just now looking for things I could add in. Let me see. Let me look at this scene here, see what, maybe we can add in some chains and what, but I don't see where. Anyway, I think for today, that's going to be it. Are we already done 2 hours? And yeah, I think this is good enough. Maybe let me see. Let me, if I hide. Yeah, I think this water has to be down, and we can. see, trying to look at different angles. I think even this angle here would work. Yeah, most angles, even this would work. Let's give this a look at in cycles one more time. Yeah, I think there's not a big difference with cycles and Eevee. Maybe if we hide this sun and just use a sky texture. That could provide a different look. That we're going to stick with the environment texture we had. And just grab this and bring back our sun. You can use soft shadows for the sun. Actually, I have an interesting layout. Yeah, I think it's very efficient. I can see the reference image here. I have my outliner here. I have my shaders. I have everything where I want them to be. Let's play with the colors. Different colors here. Reset. And then maybe let's give this a slight animation. So like a small push in, and let's use Eevee. This time let's use a wider view. And one thing we can do is animate the water. So let's see where is our noise, our main noise. So I can grab this other noise as a texture coordinate mapping, and just let me see if I play with the I can play with the Y with the Z location, and I should be able to get some bit of animation. Maybe just set this to 5. And see all the water in our scene is animated. The only thing that is not animated is our birds. So I'll select the birds like this. And a quick way to animate the birds, we can just use an empty. Just select the birds again, parent them to that empty, Ctrl P, and just rotate that empty slightly. So maybe that rotation is too fast. And the closer the birds are, the more the better the animation is going to look. So it's going to move this. I'm not sure if the animation of the birds come through with from